For the pleasure of the Lordship, Shri Radha Ballabha, Shri Gaurnitai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra, Shri Prabhupada, and all the assembled devotees. Sankirtan score report for Saturday, 7th of May. So, yesterday was MSF, the monthly Sankirtan festival, and we had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 19 devotees participate. Books distributed: Sureshwari Mataji 4 small for 1 book point, Naman Prabhu 4 small 1 big for 2 book points, Ramesh Prabhu 1 Mahabig for 2 book points, Priyanka Mataji 10 small for 2.5 book points, Vikram Prabhu 1 big 1 Mahabig for 3 book points, Zach Prabhu 2 small 2 Mahabig for 6.25 book points, Bhishma Pitama Prabhu 9 small 2 Mahabig for for 6.25 book points. Sivya 2 small 1 medium 3 Mahabig for 7 book points. Matsya Mataji 2 medium 4 Mahabig for 9 book points. Gopa Vrindesh Prabhu 5 Mahabig for 10 book points. Jait Prabhu 2 small 6 Mahabig for 12.5 book points. Karthik Prabhu 3 small 4 big 4 Mahabig for 12.75 book points. Suchitra Priya Mataji 4 small 7 Mahabig for 15 book points. Vishnu Prabhu 2 big 7 Mahabig for 16 book points. Madan Mohini Mataji 3 medium 13 Mahabig for 27.5 book points. Kapil Prabhu 14 Mahabig for 28 book points. Dvija Pitambar 9 small 5 big 17 Mahabig for 41.25 book points. Mahalakshmi Mataji 32 small 20 medium 13 big 14 Mahabig for 59 book points. And top of the day, Janvi Jivan Mataji for 1 Bhagavatam set, 72 book points. That's a daily total of 81 small, 26 medium, 26 big, and 100 Mahabig, and 1 Bhagavatam set. So that's 130 so books. It's 331.25 book points. Lakshmi liberated. Okay, this weekly preaching score. Radhe Chai Bar 601 guests for 7,000. Oh, that's a weekly. So it's not daily score. No daily score for Radhe so Gopal so crossways. This in the not here. Lakshmi liberated Vikram Prabhu 15, Sureshwari Mataji 20, Naman Prabhu 30, Sivya 35, Priyanka Mataji 40, Ramesh Prabhu 50, Matsya Mataji 50, Gopavindesh Prabhu 60, Karthik Prabhu 71, Zach Prabhu 75, Bhishma Pitama Prabhu 79, Suchitra Priya Mataji 100, Vishnu Prabhu 115, Chait Prabhu 135, Madan Mohini Mataji 165, Kapil Prabhu 185, Dvija Pitambar 232, Janvi Jivan Mataji 300, Member Services 384, and Mahalakshmi Mataji 549. Lakshmi, that's the daily total 2,690 Lakshmi points. Books distributed this week. Sureshwari Mataji 4 small for 1 book point, Naman 4 small 1 big for 2 book points, Sudhir Govinda 1 Mahabig 2 book points, Ramesh Prabhu 1 Mahabig for 2 book points, Priyanka 10 small for 2.5 book points, Vikram 1 big 1 Mahabig 3 book points, Rikeshwari 2 Mahabig for 4 book points, Bhishma Pitama 9 small 2 Mahabig for 6.25 book points, Sivya 2 small 1 big 3 Mahabig for 7 book points, Radha Ragini Mataji 6 small 3 Mahabig for 7.5 book points, Krishna 4 Mahabig for 8 book points, Gopavindesh Prabhu 5 Mahabig for 10 book points, Chanda Sharma 5 Mahabig 10 book points, Hemant Bosamia 8 small 1 medium 4 Mahabig for 10.5 book points, Kiran Khanna Mataji 5 small 3 medium 5 Mahabig for 14.25 book points, Suchitra Priya Mataji 4 small 7 Mahabig for 15 book points, Vishnu 2 big 7 Mahabig for 16 book points, Nitin Chauhan 1 big, 11 Mahabig for 23 book points. Zach 11 small, 3 medium, 8 big, 6 Mahabig for 24.25 book points. Madan Mohini Matari 3 medium, 13 Mahabig for 27.5 book points. Kapil Prabhu 14 Mahabig for 28 book points. Jade 7 small, 14 Mahabig, 29.275 book points. Dvija Pitambar 9 small, 5 medium, 5 big, 17 Mahabig for 41.25 book points. Nanda Gopal Prabhu 24 Mahabig for 48 book points. Karthik Prabhu 3 small, 5 big, 24 Mahabig for 53.75 book points. Janvi Jivan Mataji 1 Bhagavatam set 72 book points. Matsya Mataji 12 small, 8 medium, 4 big, 12 Mahabig, 1 Bhagavatam set for 107 book points. And Mahalakshmi Mataji 61 small, 35 medium, 33 big, 39 Mahabig, 5 Bhagavatam sets, 2 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets, 575.75 book points. Lakshmi liberated this week. Sudhir Govinda 10, Vikram 15, Sureshwari 20, Nrikesh 30, Naman 30, Sivya 35, Priyanka 40, Ramesh 50, Krishna 60, Gopavinda 60, Radharagini 61, Bhishma Pitama 79, Chandra Sharma 80, Hemant 86, Suchitra Priya 100, Vishnu 115, Kiran Khanna 119, Madan Mohini 165, Nitin Chauhan 166, Kapil 185, Dvija Pitambar 232, Zach 244, Jade 267, Nanda Gopal 286, Jahnavi Jeevan 300, Karthik 481, Matsya 557, Temple Shop 746, Bhakti Shastri Course 1800, Member Services 2085, Mahalakshmi 3050 Lakshmi points. That gives a weekly total of 11,554 Lakshmi points. Sankirtan Yagya ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for participating for the monthly Sankirtan festival. So many devotees participated. Yesterday about 20. About 20 devotees participated. So we will be continuing that every month. So those who are interested can join in the city and around Melbourne. Hare Krishna. Sankirtan Yajna ki jai.
Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Arana Padma Kevalabha Kati Sadma Arana Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevalabha Kati Sadma Banda Mohi Savadana Mate Mohi Savadana Mate Banda Mohi Savadana Mate Jahara Prasade Ba He Bhavatoriya Jahai. Jahara Prasade Bhai. He Bhavatoriya Jahai. Krishna Prapti Ho Jaha Hoite. Krishna Prapti Ho Jaha Hoite. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Kya. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Akya. Arana Kori Ho Mane Asha. Arana Kori Ho Mane Asha. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati. Je prasade pure sarva asha. Je prasade pure sarva asha. Jakudan dilo jai जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से. चकुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से. दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinashayate. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinashayate. Vede Gai Jahara Charito. Vede Gai Jahara Charito. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Adama Janara Bandhu. Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokanath Lokera Jivana Aha Prabhu Korodaya Deho More Padachaya Aha Prabhu Korodaya Deho More Padachaya Ebejas Gochote Bhuvana Ebejas Gochote Bhuvana Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada ki Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, oh. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jai Gauranitai. Jaya Jagannath Baladev Jaya Subhadra Jaya Radha Balabha Radha Balabha Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Balabha Radha Balabha Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Balabha Radha Balabha Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Nitai Gora Haribo 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 Nitai Gora Haribo Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaur Premanande
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Acharya Astro Sarasat His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Siddhas Prabhupada ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Ramacharya Haridas Thakur ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय श्री श्री गंगा माई की जय श्री श्री यमुना माई की जय वृंदावन धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय समवेद भक्त वृंद की जय जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayamudhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. So today we'll read from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 6, and we are opening a new chapter today, chapter 8 from Canto 6 of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. The chapter is titled as the Narayan Kavach shield. The Narayan Kavach shield. Our focus will be on text 1, and because there is no purport to most of the verses, we'll go till text 12. But we'll recite 1 and 2. Srirajam Vacha Yaya Gupta Sahasrakshaha. Sorry. Yaya Gupta Sahasrakshaha Savahan Ripusanikan Savahan Ripusainikan Kridan Iva Vinirjitya Trilokya Bhubuje Shriyam Bhagavam Stan Mama Kyahi Varmanarayanatmakam Yata Tatha Yanas Satrun Yena Gupto Jayan Mridhe Sri Rajam Vacha Yaya Gupta Sahasrakshaha Savahan Ripusainikan Kridan Iva Vinirjitya Trilokya Bhubuje Shriyam Bhagavam Stan Mama Kyahi Varmanarayanatmakam Yata Tatha Yena Shatrun Yena Gupto Jayan Mridhe Sri Rajam Vacha Yaya Gupta Sahasrakshaha Savahan Ripusainikan Kridan Iva Vinirjitya Trilokya Bhubuje Shriyam Bhagavam Stam Mama Kyahi Varmanarayanatmakam Yatha Tata Yena Shatrun Yena Gupto Jayan Mridhe. Sri Rajam Vacha Yaya Gupta Sahasrakshaha Savahan Ripusainikan Kridan Iva Vinirjitya Trilokya Bhubuje Shriyam Bhagavam Stan Mama Kyahi Varmanarayanatmakam Yatha Tatha Vinashatrum Yena Gupto Jayan Mridhe. Sri Rajam Vacha Yaya Gupta Sahasrakshaha Kridaniva Vinirjitya Trilokya Bhubuje Shriyam Bhagavam Stan Mama Kyahi Varmanarayanatmakam Yatha Tatha Yena Shatrun Yena Gupto Jayan Mridhe. Sri Rajam Vacha Yaya Gupta Sahasrakshaha Savahan Ripusainikan Kridan Iva Vinirjitya Trilokya Bhubuje Shriyam Bhagavam Stan Mama Kyahi वर्मनारायणात्मकम् यथा तथा यिनः शत्रुन् येन गुप्तो जयन्मृधे. माताजी. श्रीराजोवाच यया गुप्तसहस्राक्षः सवाहान् रिपुसैनिकान् क्रीडान् इव विनिर्जित्य त्रिलोक्य बुभुजे श्रियम्. भगवान् वर्मनारायणात्मकम् यथा तथा येनः शत्रुन् येन गुप्तो जयन्मृधे. श्रीराजोवाच यया गुप्तसहस्राक्षः सवाधान् रिपुसैनिकान् क्रीडान् इव विनिर्जित्य त्रिलोक्य बुभुजे श्रियम्. भगवंस्तन्ममाख्याहि वर्मनारायणात्मकम् यथा तथा येनः शत्रुन् येन गुप्तो जयन्मृधे. श्रीराजा उवाच King Parikshit said, Yaya, by which the spiritual armor, Gupta, protected, Sahasra Akshaha, the 1,000-eyed King Indra, Savahan, with their carriers, Ripusainikan, the soldiers and commanders of the enemies, Kridan Iva, just like playing, Vinirjitya, conquering, Trilokya, of the three worlds, the higher, middle and lower planetary systems. Bubuje, enjoyed, Sriyam, the opulence, Bhagavan, the Bhagavan, O great sage, Tat, that, Mama, unto me, Akhyahi, please explain, Varma, defensive armor made of a mantra, Narayana Atmakam, consisting of the mercy of Narayana, Yatha, in that way, Atatayanaha, who were endeavoring to kill him, Shatrun, enemies, Yena, by which, Guptaha, being protected, Ajayat, conquered, Mridhe, in the fight. Translation, Srila Prabhupada. Jai. King Parikshit inquired from Sukadeva Goswami, my Lord, kindly explain the Vishnu mantra armor that protected King Indra and enabled him to conquer his enemies along with their carriers and enjoy the opulence of the three worlds. Please explain to me that Narayana armor by which King Indra achieved success in battle, conquering the enemies who were endeavoring to kill him. So there is no purport, so we'll go on reading till 12. Text 3. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, King Indra, the leader of the demigods, inquired about the armor known as Narayana Kavacha from Vishwarup, who was engaged by the demigods as their priest. Please hear Vishwarup's reply with great attention. I am not saying, the verse is saying. Please hear with great attention. Vishwarup said, if some form of fear arrives, one should first wash his hands and legs clean and then perform achaman by chanting this mantra. Om pavitra pavitro va sarvavastham gatopi va yasmaret pundari kaksham sabhabhyabhyantara suchihi Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu, Sri Vishnu. Then one should touch kusa grass and sit gravely and silently facing north. When completely purified, one should touch the mantra composed of 8 syllables to the 8 parts of his body and touch the mantra composed of 12 syllables to his hands. Thus, in the following manner, he should bind himself with the Narayan coat of armor. First, while chanting the mantra composed of 8 syllables, Om Namo Narayanaya, 8 syllables. First, while chanting the mantra composed of 8 syllables, beginning with the pranava, the syllable Om, one should touch his hands to 8 parts of his body, starting with the 2 feet and progressing systematically to the knees, thighs, abdomen, heart, chest, mouth and head. Then one should chant the mantra in reverse, beginning from the last syllable Ya, while touching the parts of his body in the reverse order. These 2 processes are known as Utpatti Nyasa and Samhara Nyasa respectively. Text 7. Then one should chant the mantra composed of 12 syllables. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Preceding each syllable by the Omkar, one should place the syllables of the mantra on the tips of his fingers, beginning with the index finger of the right hand and concluding with the index finger in the left. The 4 remaining syllables should be placed on the joints of the thumbs. Text 8 to 10. One must then chant the mantra of 6 syllables. Om Vishnave Namaha. One should place the syllable Om on his heart, the syllable V on the top of his head, the syllable Sa between his eyebrows, the syllable Na on his left tuft of hair, Shikha, and the syllable Ve between his eyes. The chanter of the mantra should then place the syllable Na on all the joints of his body and meditate on the syllable Ma as being a weapon. He should thus become the perfect personification of the mantra. He should thus become the perfect personification of the mantra. Thereafter, adding Visarga to the final syllable Ma, he should chant the mantra Ma Astraya Phat in all directions beginning from the east. In this way, all directions will be bound by the protective armor of the mantra. Text 11. After finishing this chanting, one should think himself, qualitatively one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full in 6 opulences and is worthy to be meditated upon. Then one should chant the following protective prayer to Lord Narayan, the Narayan Kavach, which means after doing all this, then one should chant the following protective prayer to Lord Narayan, the Narayan Kavach. And now, the Narayan Kavach's first verse, text 12. Because it's a prayer, I'll chant that. Okay. Om Harir Vidhadhyan Mama Sarvaraksham Nyastangri Padma Patagendra Prishthe Darari Charmashi Gadeshu Chapa Pashan Dadhano Stha Guno Stabahu. The Supreme Lord who sits, this is the meaning, translation of the Narayan Kavacha, first verse. The Supreme Lord who sits on the back of the bird Garud, touching him with his lotus feet, that Supreme Lord holds 8 weapons. The conch shell, disc, shield, sword, club, arrows, bow, and ropes. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead protect me at all times with his 8 arms. He is all powerful because he fully possesses the 8 mystic powers, Anima, Laghima, etc. Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thinking oneself one with the Supreme, thinking oneself one with the Supreme is called Ahangra Upasana. Through Ahangra Upasana, one does not become God, but he thinks of himself as qualitatively one with the Supreme. Understanding that as a spirit soul, he is equal in quality to the Supreme Soul, the way the water of a river is of the same nature as the water of the sea. One should meditate upon the Supreme Lord as described in this verse and seek his protection. The living entities are always subordinate to the Supreme. Consequently, their duty is to always seek the mercy of the Lord in order to be protected by him in all circumstances. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Mukham Karoti Vachalam Panghum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatam Maham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It's a new chapter, the Narayan Kavach Shield. I seek the blessings of all assembled devotees, including all senior devotees here, so that we may speak something for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, the deities, and all Vaishnavas. So, this is chapter 8, and we have moved on since the context that was there in chapter 7. So, a little bit of a context, very brief. Chapter 7, Indra, the great demigod, he offended Brihaspati. Brihaspati was there in the assembly, but he failed to offer respects to Brihaspati. As a result of this Guru Aprad, this is an offense, he lost all his powers. And because he is the chief of all the demigods, the entire demigod kul lost their powers. Whatever a great man does, it has impact on everyone. Whatever decisions the leadership takes, the impact has to be borne by all the citizens. Right? So whatever Indra did, everyone had to bear the brunt of it. And what happens when we disrespect our spiritual master? When you see it from a material angle, all your material powers will diminish. And when we see it from a spiritual angle, our spiritual powers will diminish. So all material powers of Sorry? The last, when we offend our Guru, then materially also we will lose our material powers. It is said even lifespan goes down. And spiritually, we lose our spiritual credits. When we do Vaishnava Aparadh, there is a stamp that the bank puts on our bank account. We can't operate it. It's unmanifest because of that aparadh. And only after we seek pardon and that Vaishnava has pardoned, then it is unlocked again when we can access our own spiritual credits. So there is a moratorium, there is a hold on that credit. So what happened was, because of this offense, the demigods lost all their power, and immediately when demigods lose their power, who jumps in there? The demons. They see a quick opportunity there to now come and take back that power. So the demons, they defeated the demigods. Obviously, now faced with this defeat, there has to be some strategy to win back whatever we have lost. When you don't have something, that is one kind of misery. But when you have something and you lose it, it's very difficult after that. It's another level of misery, right? So when we are used to puja, pratishtha, power, position, then when we lose it, it becomes extremely difficult for someone to operate. So therefore, Indra was constantly meditating on what to do, and he went to Twasta. Twasta engaged his son, Vishwarup. He said, my son is potent enough, powerful enough to give you something by which you can get back all your powers. So they went and requested Vishwarup. Vishwarup was very humble by his nature. He had a lot of service attitude. He had a lot of respect for the demigods. In fact, Vishwarup was like some kind of a Samadarshi. He did not even distinguish between the demigods and the asuras, because of which he got into trouble later. In that sense, because Indra killed him. But that is for a later chapter. But as of now, he immediately accepted the plea or the request of the demigods, and he accepted priesthood. Priesthood is not something very palatable for a very advanced Brahmana. Brahmana don't accept priesthood, because priesthood has got little bit of that Vaniya thing going on. We say Leva Devi, give and take. So a Brahmana is not interested in priesthood. Priesthood means you do some yagya, they'll give you some dakshina. Because they gave some dakshina, next time when you go to the yagya, the mind will say, will they give me the same dakshina? So that's how the mind will trap, right? So priesthood is not very great. Also, when you do priesthood, then the priest does lot of sadhana. And then the sadhana of the priest is expended in he being a priest, because those credits are passed on to the person who is beneficiary of that ultimately. So people don't usually accept priesthood, but because the demigods requested, Vishwarup accepted that. And it is said that he served them with great enthusiasm and attention. Vishwarup knew that the asuras have become powerful. Despite all their bad qualities, one good quality they had, asuras. What was that? Their allegiance and respect which they showed to their guru, spiritual master, Śrīmad. And that was a big thing, right? So that gave them all that power. And so Vishwarup knew that the opulence of the demons, the powers of the demons, was a result of the talent and tactics of Śrīmad, Guru Śrīmad. So Vishwarup had to come up with a much more powerful solution now to counter the impact of that curse and to help Indra and the demigods get back their lost glory and kingdom. Now what can be more powerful than the holy name of the Lord? Om Namo Narayanaya. So he composes what is called as the Narayan Kavach mantra. What in the entire cosmos can be more powerful than this? Nothing. This Narayan Kavach mantra is also called as Vishnu Jwar. And this Vishnu Jwar, Narayan Kavach mantra, would eventually restore the power of the demigods and would help them get back whatever they have lost. So this is what has happened in the previous chapter. Now, having heard all this, Parikshit Maharaj is continuing to churn the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam by asking questions to Sukadeva Goswami. So Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadeva Goswami, please explain the power of this Vishnu mantra by which one can conquer enemies which threaten to kill us. One can conquer enemies which threaten to kill us. Please explain the power of this mantra. Now, in response to that particular request, Sukadeva Goswami explains how systematically Vishwarup explained the process of chanting this mantra to Indra. He explained both the aspects, which was very evident when we read the translation today, the Pancharatriki part and the Bhagavad Dharma part. He explained both the aspects. The aspect of physical purification by doing achaman, etc., etc., and then chanting, invoking the auspiciousness by chanting the Narayana, Om Namo Narayana, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and beginning with the ablutions. First he said you have to purify yourself. If you remember, we read in the translation. First we have to purify yourselves. Physical purification, mental purification, how to sit also. And in what mood to sit. Gravity. Not just sitting, relax like this. Or the dive bomb japa which they say, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Like this. Not like that. Sometimes Prabhupada also says, sit straight, Prabhupada said, when chanting. Right? Even in our alarm in the morning, we have that. Prabhupada says, get up! Suddenly you get up because hearing Prabhupada's great voice. So, Prabhupada also told us to sit straight while chanting and hear the holy name. So, how to sit? What direction to face? What are the initial mantras to chant? The 8-syllable Om Namo Narayanaya, the 12-syllable Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva Devaya, touching various parts of the body, seeking protection from all directions. Okay, because Indra was so scared. In any direction he can be attacked, right? So, this Narayan Kavach is like a full protection, 360 degrees, right? Now, till verse 12, these invocations are described. And starting verse 12, the exact Narayan Kavacha begins. So, we will read out the English translation yet again of Narayan Kavacha. It's good for us also to chant. This. The Supreme Lord, everyone can say, the Supreme Lord, who sits on the back of the bird Garud, touching him with his lotus feet, holds 8 weapons. The conch shell, disc, shield, sword, club, arrows, bow, and ropes. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead protect me at all times with his 8 arms. He is all powerful because he fully possesses the 8 mystic powers. Anima, Laghima, etc. So, this powerful mantra begins with the glorification of the paraphernalia of the Lord. With the conch shell, disc, sword, club, arrows, bow, and ropes. We will not go through all of them today because of time. But one thing we do understand that there is nothing called as matter in the realm of, in spiritual realm. There is nothing which is material. Matter is a concept of the material world. That is why it is called as material, because it comes from matter. So, these paraphernalia which are held in the arms of Lord Narayana or Vishnu, none of them are material. They are all personalities. So, when this Narayan Kavach shield, when these paraphernalia is being glorified, actually we are glorifying Vaishnavas. What is that verse? When Parvati asks Lord Shiva, what is the highest worship? In Padma Puran, Lord Shiva says, Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnor aradhanam param. Tasmat parataram devim tadiyanam samarchanam. Tadiya means paraphernalia. So, anything associated with the Lord which is being used in the service of the Lord is considered as expansion of the Lord. And it is verily so in the spiritual world. So all these conch shell, lotus, Sudarshan Chakra, all these are personalities which are engaged in serving the Lord. They are not made of mundane matter. Just like the nuclear weapons of today. No, they are not those kind of weapons, right? So, praying to these means praying to Vaishnavas. who the Lord bears on himself, like that. And if you see the Sri Sampradaya, in the Sri Sampradaya, these paraphernalia of the Lord, each of these paraphernalia, they all came as Goswamis in the Sri Sampradaya. In Gaudiya Parampara, we call as Goswamis. In Sri Sampradaya, they are known as Alvars. So they all came down into this world for participating in the pastimes of the Lord and as Acharyas. So we'll talk about four of these main paraphernalia very briefly. First is the conch shell of the Lord. What is the conch shell of the Lord known as? Conch shell is called as Shank, but what is it known as? Conch shell of the Lord? Panchajanya, very good. Panchajanya. Panchajanyam rishikesho devadattam dhananjaya. Poundram dadmo mahashankam bhima karma vrikodara. When that, in Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 1, when the conch shell is blown, this verse comes. So, Panchajanya. The Brahma Vaivarta Puran, it declares that this Shank or the conch shell of the Lord is both the residence of both Lakshmi and Vishnu. So both reside in this conch shell. And it is said that by bathing in the waters that the conch shell holds, every morning we say, after the conch shell is offered, then we do this, right? Pour the conch shell into then everyone gets that. So it is said that by bathing in the waters which has been held in this conch shell is like bathing with all holy waters at once. So how powerful it is, this conch shell. Not only that, the sound of the conch shell, which is very difficult for us to make. I struggled. I remember when I got Brahman initiation, I was in the altar and I was doing, nothing was coming out. I was banging that conch shell, nothing was coming out. Then Bhaktivedanta Prabhu told me, don't blow so heavily, blow gently into it. Because we are used to blowing very heavily, And when we don't get that, then we blow even further, like that, and nothing comes out. And then some weird sounds started coming out. Very embarrassing when the conch shell doesn't, blow. So you have to blow gently and blow with devotion, and then pray to the Lord that some nice sound comes from that conch shell. Okay, so but actually, if blown properly, the sound of the conch shell bestows all auspiciousness. The conch shell actually produces the Om Vani. It is said that the conch shell, the sound of the conch shell represents Om, the primeval sound of cosmic creation. That is the power of the conch shell. Further, the conch shell also represents earth, water, fire, air and space. All these are represented in the conch shell. And all of these anyway come from the Pranava Omkara. Om. All this manifested through sound vibration. And there are two types of conch shells. The right-handed conch shell, and the left-handed conch shell. The right-handed conch shell is considered to be auspicious, and it is called as the Lakshmi Shank. Now, this right-handed conch shell, sometimes people keep in their homes also. I have seen people keeping this right-handed conch shell at home. Because it is considered that this right-handed conch shell brings wealth and prosperity. Of course, devotees don't keep conch shell for wealth and prosperity. We use it as a paraphernalia to serve our deities at home. Okay. Now, it is said that the Shank, when blown, produces the purest form of sound. The purest form of sound comes out of the Shank. And that's why our day also, our Mangalarti starts with Shank. I don't know whether I'm making it correct. Whatever sound that should come from it, right? And sometimes 3 pujaris are there, which is rare, in most ISKCON temples. We have 3 pujaris blowing that. So it's very auspicious. It invokes a very devotional mood and atmosphere it creates. So that is the power of the conch shell. So the Narayan Kavach mantra starts with glorifying this conch shell of the Lord. Then comes the Sudarshan Chakra. The Sudarshan Chakra, Sudarshan means Sudarshan. Sudarshan means what? Auspicious vision. So first aspect is what? Auspicious sound. That is the conch. Then auspicious darshan, which is the Sudarshan Chakra, which is auspicious vision. So the eyes are also getting purified now. Ears have got purified, eyes are getting purified. And Chakra means something that moves. Auspiciousness that moves around, like that. And Lord Vishnu holds the Sudarshan Chakra in the rear right hand, on the index finger. In fact, the Rig Veda says that this Sudarshan Chakra, this chakra represents the wheel of time. And it has got 108 serrated edges, the Sudarshan Chakra of the Lord. And obviously, we all know that it is a weapon which the Lord uses to destroy the demons, destroy anything which causes inauspiciousness. It has got 12 spokes, it is said. 12 spokes representing the 12 months of the lunar calendar and the 12 principal demigods. It is said that the Sudarshan Chakra itself is very mystic. It has got Anima and Laghima both within it. It is said that it can become so small that it can be kept on the leaf, the tip of the leaf of the Tulsi plant. The Sudarshan Chakra can sit there also. And at the same time, it can become so big that it can cover the entire universe. So small to so big. Once it is released, it will annihilate its enemy. There is no failure, mechanical failure, scheduled maintenance, nothing like that. There is no bug. Right? So once it is released, it annihilates the enemy and it returns back to the one who wielded it, which means Lord Vishnu. Who else can wield? No one has the power to wield it anyway. Right? So it comes back to the Lord. And even after it's released, it remains in complete control of the Lord. Not like that. Nowadays they are saying when nuclear weapon is released, nobody knows what, gone then. Everything is gone. Right? You can't bring it back. Right? But the Sudarshan Chakra still remains in control of the Lord, of one who wields it, the Chakradhari. And the speed at which it can travel, it is said that it can travel anywhere within a moment. It can travel at the speed of mind, the Sudarshan Chakra. It's the desire of the Lord and it has already reached, like that. In fact, it is said that the speed of the Sudarshan Chakra increases if more obstacles are put. So better not put obstacles. Right. That feature is called as Hansagati. More and more obstacles, more and more its speed increases. And it is soundless and noiseless. Otherwise, it creates an irritating noise. Just imagine, no, when that construction work is going on. There also some chakras are rotating. Irritating noise, right? But Sudarshan Chakra doesn't have that kind of a noise, right? In case we are thinking, right? It has got tremendous power to destroy all kinds of inauspiciousness. So, the conch shell, which purifies our ears, and then the Sudarshan, auspicious darshan, which purifies the eyes. The Narayan Kavach shield glorifies these. Then the Gadha, or the club of the Lord. What is the name of the club of the Lord? Kaumodika. Kaumodaki. So a club is also called as a mace in English. The mace or the club which the Lord holds. And what does it show? It depicts the physical and mental attributes. Of the attributes of strength, physical strength, the strength of the Lord, the authority of the Lord, the power of the Lord. That is the mace. And therefore the Lord keeps it always on his upper arm. So that's the Gadha. So the Narayan Kavach shield also pays obeisances, respects to the mace of the Lord. And the Lord is glorified that you are all powerful. There is nobody who is more powerful. So in one sense, the shield starts with this power aspect of the Lord, because what is it going to counter now? It's going to counter the power of Shukracharya. So it really needs blessings of all this mace, etc. Sudarshana, and all this is there. So Narayan Kavach shield is starting with all this. Then finally the lotus. The lotus is the symbol of creation and beauty. It's the symbol of creation and beauty. Obviously, we know, when we think of lotus, what comes in mind first? To the devotee? Golok Vrindavan. Golok Vrindavan is shaped like the lotus flower. So it is the flower which depicts the abode of the highest abode in Vaikuntha. So it represents the shape of the Goloka planet. The lotus also reminds us of the eyes of the Lord. Right? But from the material standpoint, and from the point of view of Visarga, the lotus represents sustenance of the material world. And how will the material world sustain? Only when the demigods are alive. If the demigods are gone, everything is gone. The controllers of the universe is gone, right? So, the lotus is very important because it is in the stem of this lotus flower that the 14 planetary systems are held. Bhuvar Lok, Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, Maha, Janaha, Tapaha, and then Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Rasa, Atal, Mahatal, Patal, everything. So all those 14 planetary systems are held within the stem of this lotus. And not only that, Indra's manager, the CEO of the Chief Executive Officer of the material world is Lord Brahma. It is the office of Lord Brahmaji. He is sitting on that lotus flower, deriving all the powers to regulate this universe. Another interesting aspect is there. Bhaktivedanta Thakur writes about that. Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala. Like that he says. This is another aspect of the lotus. The lotus also represents purity and enlightenment. The detachment aspect of enlightenment. Because it's interesting. Where does the lotus grow? It grows amidst the swamps. Kichad mein kamal, we say. It grows in the amidst kichad, sand, like that. It grows there. But though it is present in that sand, what happens? It is not off that sand. It spreads its beauty, right? So Lord Krishna explains this very nicely in Bhagavad Gita 5.10, chapter 5, text 10. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karotiya lipyatena sa papena padma patram ivambasha. What is the meaning of that? One who performs his duty without attachment. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action. Akarma. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action. How? As the lotus leaf is untouched by water. As the lotus leaf is untouched by water. It doesn't get wet because of the water. It doesn't get impacted. So the lotus doesn't get impacted. The lotus leaf doesn't get impacted because of the water present on it. And the lotus feet does not get impacted in the circumstances which it lives and grows in. So that is the lesson to us. Oh my dear Lord, please give me that kind of a detachment from this material world amidst all the allurements that it proposes, amidst all the enjoyment offers that it gives me. So this is shield, Narayan Kavach. The biggest protection is what? Protection from getting sucked into this material energy. Krishna bhuli jiva bhoga vancha kare nistare maya tare jhapatiya dhare. The moment we forget the Lord, what happens? Maya is waiting to catch us. The moment the demigods offended spiritual master, what happened? Gone. Everything is finished. So, the conch shell, the Sudarshan Chakra, the Gadha and the lotus, the Narayan Kavach shield starts by worshipping this. Then the prayer moves on to saying that, oh Lord, you are all powerful because you possess the 8 mystic powers. Anima, Laghima, etc. So yesterday only in our Bhakti Vaibhav, I was discussing with the students this aspect because we are now discussing the Hiranyaksha pastime. Hiranyaksha being fighting with Lord Varahadev. So there we were discussing. Because what happens, one of the things that Hiranyaksha does is he's constantly abusing the Lord. Okay. And he's, because he's come out like this. He first went to Varun Dev because he could not find anyone on earth that could challenge him. So he went into the water, saying that, okay, is there anyone else who wants to fight? In Hindi we say, panga le raha hai. He's always looking for that, looking for fighting with someone. There is an itch that is there to fight. So he's going down there, and Varuna Dev very tactfully directs him to Vishnu. He says, I have become very old, he says. Why do you want to fight with old man? What glories you will get when you fight? Like that, very tactfully, diplomatically, he releases him. And he goes, you go and fight with him. But he also incites him. He tells him, he will smash you. And when Hiranyaksha, in the mood in which he has come out, what? He'll smash me? And then that kind of a thing he gets. And then with that avesh, then he goes. And then he looks at Varahadev lifting the earth. Then he's abusing Varahadev. You amphibian, he calls him like that. You amphibian. And then he says, whatever all this you are doing, it's all some mystic powers of yours. Why? In one sense, Hiranyaksha is right. There's nothing great about mystic powers. But this is different. This is Lord Varahadev, right? And the difference between material mystic powers, or mystic powers used for material, mystic powers under material energy, and spiritual mystic powers, it is beautifully explained in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 11th canto. Lord himself is explaining the mystic powers. 11th canto, chapter 15. If you want, you can have a read of that. Yesterday we were discussing that also. So quickly, because it's coming up, surfacing in today's Narayan Kavach mantra, the mystic power aspect, it is mentioned that there are 18 mystic potencies that are described in that chapter, in 11th chapter. There are 18 mystic potencies. It is said that out of that, there are primary 8. And these primary 8 are considered as transcendental mystic powers, which have taken shelter in Lord Krishna. And then there are 10 secondary material ones. But regardless of the fact that they are transcendental or material, the source of all mystic power is Lord Krishna. He is Yogeshwar. Everything comes from him. And these mystic powers are fully developed in the Lord as well as his associates. Now, these mystic powers can be used in the service of the Lord, or they can be used for our own material aggrandizement, if you like. So, for jivas, if one has to develop these kind of mystic powers, it is not easy to get these mystic powers. One has to conquer one's senses to get these mystic powers. There's a lot of tapasya that has to be done. One has to study the mind, one has to conquer the breathing process, and then fix the mind on the Lord. Even for material results, one has to meditate on the Lord. Because without his mercy, you can't even get material mystic powers. Forget about spiritual potencies. So, and it is said that each siddhi, each mystic power has got a specific characteristic. And to develop that mystic power, one has to do a specific kind of meditation. So if anyone is interested in developing those, you can study chapter 15 of 11th canto. Which meditation if you do, which mystic power you will get. Okay. But we should not do that. You may not do that. Because devotees are not interested in that. Ultimately, devotees consider these mystic powers as obstructions to their bhakti. It diminishes our mood towards the Lord, these mystic powers. So, for a devotee, achievement or attainment of such mystic powers is what? Shrama eva hi kevalam. Na utpadeyad yadhi ratim. That which does not produce rati is shrama eva hi kevalam. Useless waste of time. So, pure devotees consider this as a waste of time, and it becomes a distraction in properly worshipping the Lord. The other reason why devotees don't do it, because devotee knows that whatever I require, Lord will give. What is that verse? Yoga kshemam vahamyaham. If that is what I require to continue, Lord will know that and He'll give it to us. He'll give us some powers. Like the negotiating power which Prabhupada had. There was mysticism involved there, given by the Lord. So mysticism will come in the form of certain vibhutis, granted by the Lord. It will come in the form of Vak Shakti also. Prabhupada asks something. there will be a temple here and there is a temple there. How is that happening? Every time Prabhupada says, because he is empowered by the Lord. Purity is the strength which Prabhupada had. Purity and faith that Prabhupada had in the holy name. Like that. So these siddhis will automatically come to the pure devotee. So devotee doesn't extrinsically endeavor for these things. Also, even if offered, what is that? Sayujya, Sarupya, Sarishti, Samipya, Ekatvam api uta, Diya manam na grananti vinamat sevanam janaha. Even if all these mystic powers are offered to the devotee, a devotee rejects all these type of liberations or muktis, or even these mystic potencies. Why? Because devotee is not interested in anything which comes in the way of service. So if a mystic power comes in the way of service, to hell with this mystic power. My main focus is my service to the Lord. And finally, if one obtains these mystic powers, then one's dependence on the Lord goes down. The beauty of devotional life is our dependence on the Lord. That is where ras comes. When the gopas don't know what to do, and the Aghasura's mouth is wide open. Some of them have entered inside. So there is a dependency that happens. And this dependency generates that ras. If everything can be handled by mystic power, then the Lord can empower, and Lord need not come only. Devotees by their mystic power would have killed all the demons. Right? The gopas had all the power. They didn't need the Lord in that sense. But there is something that is churning here. Because the highest understanding of God is not that He is Ishwar or controller. The highest understanding of the Lord, Rupa Goswami gives us that He is Akhila Rasamrita Murti. So His very existence is ras with His devotees. So there is no ras when you get mystic powers. There is no dependence on the Lord. There is no satisfaction that the devotees get. Neither does the Lord get any satisfaction in coming as the knight in shining armor and saving His devotees. The Lord also takes pleasure in that. So let us give Him that opportunity, not mystic powers like that. So because of all these reasons, devotees do not accept this, except if it is required for bhakti. But those who try to attain mystic powers without meditating on the Lord says, I give them something, but they are mere reflections of that powers. They don't carry the same potency. All this is there in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Anima Siddhi, Mahima Siddhi, which is what is part of the Narayana Kavacha mantra today. Laghima. So these siddhis again are divided. There are siddhis which pertain to the body, like Anima and Laghima, bigger, smaller. There are siddhis which pertain to the senses. There are siddhis which pertain to the material nature. Now, what is the important point to understand here? That all these siddhis originally exist in Krishna. And Lord Krishna did not do any tapasya to attain this. He is Siddheshwar. He is the one from whom all these siddhis come. So when we glorify the Lord, we should not have that Hiranyaksha mentality. That you have acquired mystic powers and therefore you are showing it off to me. No, that's an incorrect understanding. You are the source of all mystic powers. And that is the mood in which Narayan Kavach mantra is being chanted. Oh my dear Lord, you carry all the Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, and then you are the source of all these mystic powers. So it acknowledges the Lord. And it is not something which is amazing. Becoming smaller than the smallest. The Lord as Sirodakshai Vishnu, who is maintaining this entire material universe, He is entering each and every atomic particle. And it is the smallest indivisible. Paramanu is the smallest indivisible particle. And the Lord is entering each and every one. So how small can that get? He breathes out millions of universes. One universe the scientists cannot measure. Million universes impossible. And He is just breathing it out. So how big can it get? So all these siddhis are anyway there in the Lord. So one just understands the pastime of the Lord, then one would understand that all this is just nothing for the Lord. In fact, Prabhupada writes in one of the purports to the Hiranyaksha section that devotees are not amazed. Devotees are not amazed by the wonderful acts of the Lord. Because for a devotee, nothing is wonderful, what the Lord does. Because the Lord can do anything. It's just like the Brahmana and the cobbler. The cobbler can thread. The cobbler said, yes, I believe that the Lord can thread the elephant through the eye of a needle. What's big thing for the Lord? He puts an entire banyan plant in one, the big sumo, what is that WWF wrestler, the Tatanka, who comes and throws that fellow outside the ring. Even that huge fellow came from the semen of his father. He was not visible. Inside a microscope, you have to see, oh, this Tatanka, yeah, he's taking birth now. Right? So that is how the Lord can pack something huge into something very small. So he is the source of all powers. So all these are insignificant. But still, the devotees glorify the Lord for these powers. So the Narayan Kavach mantra is mentioning all this in text number 12. It starts with glorifying this. Now Prabhupada in his purports gives all these technicalities, but Prabhupada gives the mood of chanting this mantra. In the translation we saw, this mantra should be chanted in a mood full of gravity, seriousness, not frivolously chanted, like that. For example, in India, in the electrical shop, that Gayatri mantra will be played in full volume, right? Anuradha Paudwal will be singing loudly, and then everything will be going on there, right? And there will be a wine shop also next, nearby, right? So we have no idea what is mantra, where it should be chanted, because mantra has got a time, place, a method in which it has to be chanted. Very frivolously it is done. But it is said that there is a mood. Prabhupada is emphasizing that. What is the mood? Prabhupada says that when you chant the mantra, we must meditate on the qualitative oneness, on our qualitative oneness with the Supreme. But Prabhupada is cautioning. The moment I talk about qualitative oneness, people will say, I am God. Many people say, no, I am God. Nowadays, it's a fashion. When these dadiwalas are asked, are you God? With big beards. What they do? They will not say yes. They will not say no also. But they will want others to assume that they are God. But they will say, I never told you. So the respect will also come. People will consider them as God. And they are legally correct also. And spiritually also they are correct. So they will not say anything. But they will enjoy the benefits of people perceiving them as God. But when someone addressed Prabhupada as God, Prabhupada got wild. I am not God. Don't glorify me like that. It's only Krishna who is God. I am only servant of God. So none of us are God. But this verse, Narayan Kavach Shield, tells us that we must meditate on the qualitative oneness with the Lord. Yes, we are qualitatively one with Him, because Mamaiva Amsha Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. We have come from Him. So we are qualitatively one with Him, but we are not Him. It's just like if you take the water in the Pacific Ocean and bring it to a laboratory, then what is there in the test tube? Pacific Ocean. But what is it? It's a sample. It is qualitatively one with the Lord. But that is not the Pacific Ocean. You cannot say, okay, let me swim in the test tube. No, it's not possible, right? Because that water is not enough. But it is representative of that water. If you measure the sodium content, phosphorus content, everything will be representative of the Pacific Ocean. Like that. So it is Pacific Ocean, but it is not Pacific Ocean. This is called as Achintya Bhed Abhed, which Lord Chaitanya clarified to all of us. So when we understand the qualitative oneness and difference, we understand in the form of Achintya Bhed Abhed. Otherwise, Ahangra Upasan, which Prabhupada talks about in the purport, sometimes what will happen? The Mayavadis worship, they also do. What is that? The 5 deities they worship. What they do? The Pancha Upasana. What they do? They worship the deities and say that I am worshipping you so that I can become you. No, that is nonsense philosophy, right? That is not possible. Because our constitutional position is that we can never become Bhagavan. That position is already taken. There is only one seat for that. That seat has gone. No quota system, no entrance exam, nothing can get you that seat. But the seat which the devotees desire is what seat? The seat of the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. That is the most prestigious seat for the devotee. That is very difficult to become servant of servant of servant, because our false ego comes in. Right? So, that is the mood in which we pray, the mood of qualitative oneness. Now, having heard all this about the Narayan Kavach Shield, for us as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, practicing Krishna consciousness in Kali Yuga, what is our mantra? What is our Kavacha? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because this is the mantra that is recommended for this age. So yes, we appreciate the Narayan Kavach Shield. We appreciate the circumstances of the demigods. But for Kali Yuga, what is the mantra? Hare Krishna Mahamantra. For us. So, and who are our enemies? Indra's enemies was those asuras. Who are our enemies? There are 5 enemies. What are those? Yeah, we call it as pagal in Hindi. P for pride, A for anger, G for greed, E for envy, and L for lust. Pagal means mad. Pride, anger, greed, envy, and lust. They all give us this pagalpan. So what is this madness? So our enemy is this madness, because every day we succumb to this madness. We do something good and immediately pride comes. Prabhuji, how's the khichdi? You made. Vaishnava Seva, Prabhu. We want to be recognized. How was the kirtan, Prabhu? How was the class, Prabhu, today? Very good, Prabhu. No, Prabhu. Just like that I asked. Right? So this is the problem. Pride comes, request for acknowledgement, recognition. These things comes. Request for honoring seniority. These are all enemies. Come and attack us every other day. Anger. Especially if some peer or junior doesn't. If spiritual master gets angry, sometimes okay, he's okay. A Maharaj. But if peer gets angry, if junior tells something, they correct us, then what happens? Right? Immediately that anger comes. Who are you? I have been coming here 15 years, 16 years to this temple. You come today and tell me like that. Immediately that anger. So what we have to do, we have to take a slipper and beat that mind. Pat. And what is that? Sorry, we shouldn't call Hare Krishna Mahamantra as a slipper, but I'm just using a metaphor. We have to beat the mind. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati said, beat that mind with the shoe, like that. How do we do that? We do it by chanting. That is our kavach. Because for all of us, the greatest enemy we have is our own mind. There is no external enemy in this world. Nothing is outside our mind. There is no enemy. Whatever is happening is all happening inside the mind. That mind is like a crow. Like Gurujan Prabhu says, cow, cow. It gives like a black crow. It keeps making those sounds. Making us run around. What is that called as? Mano sathena rati dhavato vahi. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavat akinchana. Sarvair gunai tatra samasate sura. Harav abhakta kuto mahat guna mano rathena sati dhavato vahi. If one is not surrendered to the Lord, one is not sheltered under the holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, sheltered, not just reciting the names. What we are, at least what I am doing, is finishing my rounds every day. I have not begun the process of chanting till now. If somebody asks, are you chanting? What is the answer? No, Prabhuji. Are you finishing rounds? Yes, Prabhu. Finishing 16 rounds. But when are we going to chant? So we are talking about serious. Prabhupada said chanting should be done in the mood of gravity. That applies to Hare Krishna Mahamantra also. In a mood of surrender. In the mood of, what is the mood for chanting? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. What is that? Trinadapi sunichena taroriva saishnuna. Amanina manadena ketane sadakari. Extremely difficult. Extremely difficult when someone doesn't give us respect to give back respect to that person. Impossible. Right? But in that state of mind, we should be chanting. So that is the instruction. So Prabhupada's instruction, purport for Ahangara Upasana is qualitative oneness with the Lord. But for us, what is it? Trinadapi Sunichena. Are they different? No, they are not different. Because one of the qualities, Bhagavan means what? Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashashriya jnana vairagyashchaiva shandam bhaga itingana. One of the definition of Bhagavan itself is what? One who is all powerful, one is who is all beautiful, one who is all wealthy, one who is all famous. And despite having all that, one who is completely renounced from all these things. Right? Complete renunciation. One is full of love. So, this qualitative oneness of the Lord, we have to imbibe. And that will come by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is non-different from the Lord. So when we chant that Mahamantra, it helps us in developing qualitative oneness. That is why it is said Bhakti has 6 characteristics. What is the second characteristic? Shubhada. Shubhada means what? When we take to devotional service, when we start chanting the holy name seriously, then all the good qualities that are present in divinity will dawn upon us. Actually, Prabhupada says these qualities don't have to come from outside. These qualities are already inherent as a characteristic of the soul. It is the swabhava or the nature of the soul. But what will happen? Because the soul is covered with all this mal means what? Dirt. So that the cleaning process of the Mahamantra. So for us, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the process. Now, if someone tells us in the morning, take bath and then, do achamanam and all that, yes, to some extent we can do. But if someone says, take a kusakra, sit on a mat and whatever, very difficult, right? Some of these things which are mentioned here, extremely difficult, right? But thankfully for us, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? Nam Akari Bahuda, Nija Sharva Shaktis, Tatrarpita niyamita smaranena kala. There are no rules and regulations. There is no time. So thankfully the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is easy also. Anywhere we can do. I don't recommend this, but you can even do it in the bathroom. It is not recommended to do it though, right? But Hare Krishna mantra can be done anytime. And why do we say it can be done even in the bathroom? Mahaprabhu himself did that. Mahaprabhu, when he went to the forest, of course he was doing a pastime, but he was saying, I can't control this mantra. I have to hold my tongue. So this Mahamantra doesn't have any niyam, no rules, regulations. So for us, we have got that flexibility. It is not as difficult as chanting the Narayana Kavacha also. So that is the take-home lesson for all of us today. The Lord has invested all His energies such that it will give us complete protection. There is nothing outside the Hare Krishna Mahamantra that we ever need to do. But the problem is, we will not start chanting despite hearing. Why? Because the seriousness in chanting will come only when the seriousness comes in hearing. If our Shravanam is poor, our chanting will be third class. If our Shravanam is first class, our chanting will also become first class. Because every day we need enthusiasm to chant the holy names attentively. And unless we hear, we will not do. Because Maya is always pushing us down. The moment the prisoner is escaping the jail, the guards of the system are even more tough. Oh, this fellow is trying to escape, pull him back. So what will happen? Maya will present us with a lot of material allurements, which will come in the form of pride, prestige, position, material attachments. So therefore, always we have to keep ourselves in the fire of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is our kavacha. Hare Krishna. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. I'll ask any questions or any corrections, Mataji. Yes, Prabhu. You want the mic so that the people on the...
Hare Krishna. Oh, you mentioned that the highest rasa comes from when there is a dependency on the Lord, and you gave the example of Gopas depending on Krishna. But in our day-to-day life, we are more dependent on our own security plans, so which are mostly baffled. So that remembrance comes sometimes when we are in a deep struggle of life. But how do we just keep that remembrance all the time about the dependency?
So should we plan or should we surrender to the Lord? The answer is both. Okay. Because the Lord said, Karmane vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. He didn't say, don't do your karma ma phaleshu kadachana. He never said that. Right? So we have to do our duty which is appropriate to the ashram which we have taken. If we have taken to Grihastha ashram, it is our duty to take care of finances of the house. We cannot say, I will live like Tukaram. Because otherwise, are we Tukaram? No. Otherwise, Tukaram can tolerate any number of insults. Can I tolerate even one insult? No way. I am not on that platform, right? So therefore, we cannot imitate those Grihasthas who are virtually Grihastha Brahmacharis. We cannot imitate them before our time comes. Rather, we have to do our duties as householders with detachment. And at the same time, keep on praying to the Lord. Then in executing these duties of Grihastha ashram, let me not get sucked into material life. So it has to be a fine balance. We have to balance our duties, our material duties and our spiritual duties. If we have to go to our office and work properly, yes, we have to do that. We have to excel in our jobs. Otherwise, how will we get sustained income? In fact, devotees work better than anyone else in office. Because we don't waste time drinking and smoking, right? We don't need smoke breaks and cigarette drink breaks. Neither do we need Friday night drinks to enthuse us for teamwork, right? Devotees are very satisfied with the morning program. So when we go to office, we are already completely charged. And when we do our jobs, we do our jobs in the sense that it is what is Krishna has ordained for me. So we do our duties in office, and that itself is Bhakti Yoga, because we do it for the Lord. Because the Lakshmi which comes from that, we will give it for propagating Krishna consciousness. And to get that Lakshmi, we have to get a job. And to get a job, we have to study. So even as children, we have to study well. Devotee children have to be the best in studies. Because when we introduce Devamrit Swami, how do we introduce Maharaj? What do we say? He's from which university? Yale University. So he did study, right? Otherwise, how he would have got into Yale University, right? So we should not condemn the material energy. Rather, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Chatushloki talks about this. Rite ritam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta cha atmani tad vidya atmano mayam yatha bhasho yatha tamaha. There is nothing material actually in this world. Material is a conception. Anything which we cannot see its connection to the Lord, that becomes material. But if we connect everything, our activities, our possessions, our bank balance, everything, our house, if we connect it to the Lord, then there is nothing left for matter to reside in. Material energy will not reside there. So therefore, we have to continue doing our duties. Apropos to our ashram. But when we reach 50, at that time we should start, our life and planning should be such that by the time we hit 50, we should be able to take vanaprastha without much difficulty. That is how we have to plan our life and finances. Then it becomes easier. Otherwise, if we start working till 75, we will collapse. There is no vanaprastha. Directly from Docklands to Springvale Cemetery. Office van will come and take us. Collapsed in office. And then what will they say? They say, we will have 1 minute silence for this person. That's all they will do. And then they will say, okay, let us all do some drinks party. It was a nice bloke. And they will drink on our name. Right? That's all will happen. And after 10 days, we'll say, who is that fellow? We have to replace him now. Okay, recruit next fellow. And then nobody will remember us. And then we will say, I worked 40 years for this company, I was so loyal. So everything is a waste in that sense. But if everything utilized in doing our activities, then everything becomes bhakti yoga, and then there is no loss or diminution. So whatever we do, it is bhakti. If we do it with keeping Lord in the center, that's the... Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Jagannath Prabhu. Very nice, wonderful lecture. You have covered so many things in one lecture. Incredible, incredible. My one comment about the Sudarshan Chakra, Lord Krishna, Lord Narayan sent it for the Durvasa. So you told us how it has to come back to him, but he had to take shelter of the king whom he had insulted. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and thank you for the wonderful class. We have heard in many lectures how when Durvasa Muni committed the offense to Amrish Maharaj, he went to Amrish Maharaj to ask for forgiveness, and then only he got forgiven. But in this pastime, how Indra offends Brihaspati, he doesn't go to Brihaspati, he goes to Vishwarupa and gets his power back. So how do we understand this?
Very good question. Thank you for the wonderful question. You always say thank you for the wonderful class. Today I am thanking you for wonderful questions. So why did Indra go to Brihaspati? Simple reason being, Indra was not seeking atonement. Indra was seeking to get his kingdom back. See his motive. When our motive is to seek atonement, then we will follow the process for atonement. Here, where is the mood of atonement here? Indra is going there, and then on top of that, whoever gave him that mantra, Indra kills him only after that. So this is the height of being focused on whatever you want. Right? So Indra is not wanting that. So this is not applicable to that. This is not the same as that. Is that clear? His goal is not atonement. He is not repentant or anything like that. He just wants to find out some way by which the Shukracharya's energy can be countered, and then he can get back his kingdom. That is the mood. Whereas in that case of Durvasa Muni still had that realization that I have offended a Vaishnava. Of course, he did something abominable by trying to curse and kill Ambarish Maharaj. But later on he realized that this is we have offended a devotee. So that pastime is different in one sense, in its theme. This pastime is different. Here everything material is going on right now. And even this Narayan Kavach shield, he is going to use it only for material purpose. He is glorifying Lord Narayana. But still, one good thing is there in that. At least the demigod is not going to another demigod. They are also going there. Because Lord says, akama sarva kamava moksha kama udaridi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajjata purusham param. So come to me even if you have material desire, chant my name only. Because what will happen? The Lord fulfills that desire in such a way that you will not desire that again. Because it's not that after chanting this, Indra is ever victorious. After that, lot of problems will come, which you will see in the future sections. So when we chant just for material purposes, the Lord will fulfill it in such a way that later on we will not want that. Yeah. So that thematically it is different. Hare Krishna. What is the most auspicious sound, Om or conch shell? Conch shell is the medium through which Om Vani comes. So conch shell is not sound in itself. Conch shell produces Om sound. Who is Satya Narayan? Satya Narayan is Lord Narayana. Yeah. No, Satya Narayan is Lord Narayana because Lord Narayana is Param Satyam Dhimahi. So he is the ultimate truth. So when we glorify the Lord that you are the supreme absolute ultimate, then we glorify him as Satya Narayana. And the Lord is also called as Satya Narayana because Lord is true to his word. He never fails his devotee. He is Achyuta, infallible. So he is, when he promises something, he delivers on that promise. So it's Satya Narayana, like that. Yep. Okay.
Asuras defeated demigods. So how did Indra knows he insulted a spiritual master? Indra, how did he knows that he insulted spiritual master? How did he realize? Yeah.
He was there in that event when Brihaspati left, and by Brihaspati's body language, he could realize that, Brihaspati is offended because he got up and went, and Brihaspati didn't say anything. When spiritual master doesn't say anything, when he doesn't stop chastising, you have to know that he's even more angry. When he chastises, it is easy. In fact, it is said with Prabhupada also. Prabhupada's level of anger was classified at various levels. Prabhupada shouting is one. Prabhupada will give it left, right. And then what happens? Higher level of anger was what? Of Prabhupada? His lips will start trembling. Like that. That means Prabhupada is really angry, one level above. And then highest anger of Prabhupada was what? He will become silent. And he is very, very angry. Like that. So Brihaspati, from what my memory tells me, Brihaspati did not tell him that I am hurt or whatever. The very fact that he walked away and he remained in silence, Indra realized that, oh my goodness, something is wrong here. So it's not difficult to recognize that. And obviously these inauspicious signs, Indra is the chief of the demigods. We have to understand that he is actually a devotee. He's a mixed devotee. But Indra will have that intelligence to understand that when my prowess is going down, there is something wrong. And then he definitely has the intelligence to introspect and go do the root cause analysis in his own heart. Because all the knowledge is there with him. So he saw externally Brihaspati, that the fact that Brihaspati walked away and he didn't say anything. And then internally he knows that.
So what he did to rectify or recover from that?
Narayan Kavach. He did the Narayan Kavach, by which he got back, but then he also killed the person who gave the Narayan Kavach, which will come later. He kills this Vishwarup because this Vishwarup was a Samadarshi. He gave some of it to the demigods also. So he gave the remnants of the offerings to the Asuras also. And Indra didn't like that. How dare you give them that? So, yeah. So they don't like. Sometimes Krishna Prasadam, some people get envious when you give it to others. They think that it's diminishing their own powers. Like that. Okay. I will stop here because it's already 9:14. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Samaved Bhaktivedanta ki jai.